Okay, so yesterday, sitting at work, randomly bored, and flipping through my phone. Flipping through my phone on break, and there's a story that pops up about this, I guess, sheriff or police chief or something in a little town in Massachusetts, where ultimately he gets to decide who gets a concealed carry weapon. Like, it's his ultimate final decision. And so he has implemented this rule that applicants for a concealed carry permit must submit with their application an essay on why they should be allowed to have a concealed carry permit. And they also have to take a advanced safety course, which is an additional $1,100 on top of the one that they already have to pay for.
Whoa, right.
And so, of course, there's a lot of people who are very, very upset with this. There's been a lot of backlash. People who, this is a violation of my Second Amendment rights, in the middle of all of the gun control debate and everything that's going on in this country anyway, this is just another very small, isolated incident of trying to implement more gun control. I would like to start with getting everybody else's opinions, and then I might try to express mine.
Jason, what do you got?
I've actually, when I first read it, I kind of just skimmed through it because I was getting ready for class when you sent it. So my initial skim, I was all for it because I didn't really catch the 1,100.
Yeah,
I didn't catch that at first.
Yep.
It's still kind of okay to me. That kind of puts it in a gray area a little bit. But the essay part is excellent to me. Because if you really want a gun, if you really want to carry your gun around in public, what's the problem with writing a quick essay? Not only that, but I think, and I know they're not going to do this, but if you really want to get into it, you could have psychologists and people who analyze handwriting to sit down and look at these essays and decide, okay, this person is mentally unfit.
This guy.
If they're writing this essay angry, they're going to be more heavy-handed. If they sign their name and they put a cross through it, that symbolizes that they may have some mental instability that usually tends to lead to suicide, because they have found that when people cross out their signature, when they're just signing and then they do a cross through it, that people who write suicide notes have done that, and that's where they get that mindset from.
I think I need to go have my signature
analyzed.
analyzed.
Hold on. I'm over here like, wait a second.
No, yours is fine.
So I think all of this, if they go that far with it, it could be a really good thing. And then also, when you're reading this essay, if someone's going on and on about how they could play hero, then that also tells you that they aren't ready or mentally prepared to own a gun, because more oftentimes than not, the person who tries to play the hero is the one who either gets shot first or ends up hurting somebody else. So I think this is a good thing. The 1,100 puts it kind of in a gray area, but otherwise, if they take that off, I'd still be all for it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and throw it next.
Please do. Yeah, I can't follow that up, so please do.
For me, the essays I'm fine with. I need there to be an understanding that not everybody has the same educational level.
Yeah.
So that somebody who might be, 2 34-year-old individuals, one with a college education, one with a high school education, their essays are going to be a different style, different grammar, and I don't think somebody should be judged solely on, hey, he put IT apostrophe S instead of ITS. Mm-hmm. So long as there's nothing that trivial, the ideas behind the essay, the, hopeful thought patterns behind what they write would be enough to, get people to understand who, or help to, who gets it and who doesn't. As my biggest kicker on this, when you told me about it, was $1,100 to take the advanced class. That's exorbitant to me and almost prohibitively expensive, to where only a certain number of people can get it. And to the Second Amendment, that seems a violation to me. Not writing the essay, but making the class to get it so prohibitively expensive that it does limit the rights. It's like asking people for, ID to vote. Poor people can't afford $20 to go and get an ID. Asking $1,100 is quite a bit more, but.
Aaron, if you still have nothing to say, I have to take this.
Just real quick. I did not. Again, I agree with Jason. When I read it at first, I was kind of like, that's not too bad. You got to write an essay. I feel like if you would like to have a concealed carry gun, you should be able to have the forethought in the mind to know why you want to carry it. Like, typically people who go forward with those things want it for a particular reason. So writing that down on paper, and then even better, having that analyzed, that is, in my own opinion, one of the best ways that you could think of to really get people. And I think after hearing Jason's argument, you should have more people writing and analyzing what people say. And you should not only have to write a paragraph for a concealed carry, but for various other types of guns that you want. If you want a semi-automatic weapon that can be turned into an automatic weapon, like an AR-15 and various other things like that, semi-automatic, Uzis and stuff like that, like, you should have to write a reason why you want a gun like that. It's very understandable. And then to have it analyzed not by just some person who has jurisdiction, but someone who has creditable psychological and school-taught evidence to why you should or should not be able to have a gun. I think it would not only help us weed out who shouldn't have a gun, but find people who may actually do them for harmful reasons and be able to get them help before something like that happens. In your writing, like, not even saying in your writing, just in general, you seemed a bit angry when you were going through this application process. Could you come in and speak with a specialist, even in that gun store? It shouldn't be that hard to get someone to meet them there and to talk about why they acted or said a certain way in their writing. I think it would really help us a lot in this country to understand people who want guns in general. But then to go to the extreme of having someone pay $1,100? $1,100 is my rent for almost 2 months. I ain't giving you that. When I already paid enough money to show you that I can handle a gun in and of itself in a concealed carry way, that is very exclusionary. That is very regressive in my mind, and it does create just an elite class of people that can afford to have this concealed carry license in this state, which is what this person, in my opinion, after hearing this, is kind of aiming for. Because he didn't say he's going to have a professional look at these. He's looking at these documents. Yeah. So not only would he be able to exclude you just off the bat, even if you sent the money in and took the class, he could still exclude you after that, pretty much taking your money in a sense. So it seems like someone kind of wants more power than their job is deeming necessary. So he's writing legislation to make himself grandiose. That to me is wrong. And that's about it on it. What do you think, Ms. Serena?
There was so much with this, but I'm going to try to keep it a little simpler than what it was you and I got into with it yesterday.
Right.
To start with, I think it's pretty amazing looking at your guys' reactions versus the reactions of the people in this community, because everybody else's issues not so much been about the $1,100 class, it's been about the essay.
Wow.
So it's really interesting for me to see the different dynamics of what we think and what they think. To your point of the $1,100 being a violation of the Second Amendment, that is, the Second Amendment says we have the right to own and bear weapons. That is correct, to bear arms. It does not say that we have the right to get a weapon, conceal it, and carry it around in public.
Yes.
That is not what the Second Amendment says. The $1,100 is to get a permit to be able to do that. That is not a freedom. That is not a liberty. That is not something that is guaranteed by the Second Amendment. And so asking you to take an $1,100 class is not a violation.
But nor is it denied. It is not specifically stated, unless it's not stated at all. It says you're allowed to own the weapon.
Yes. And this is not stopping them from going and purchasing a weapon. They can still go purchase a weapon. This has nothing to do with owning the weapon. Mm-hmm. This is, I have purchased a weapon, I've got my pistol, and I want to put it, on my belt and use my jacket to cover it up, and nobody knows I have it, and I want to walk around in Walmart with it.
Well, 1 second, real quick, Serena. So this isn't like, because almost every state you have to pay a particular class to have a concealed carry.
Yes.
That is understandable. So what I was kind of, maybe I took this out of context. So it's not like you paid to have a concealed carry and then they added another charge on top of that.
No, that's exactly what they did.
Okay, see, that's a problem. Like, every state has it to where you have to pay for a concealed carry. I understand that. But then to add another fee on top of that, that to me makes it extreme and elitist.
What has happened is the state already had a mandated concealed carry class that these people have to pay for and take. And this, I can't remember if it was a sheriff or police chief, and I'm sorry for that. I could probably pull the article up and read it. But anyway.
It'll be in the link below if you'd like to read more.
Yes, there we go. He mandated that not only are you going to go take this state mandated class, I want you to take the advanced course as well, the one that comes after that one. And that is an extra $1,100 for that course. So they are taking 2 courses, basic version and advanced version. And I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying I don't feel like it's a violation of a Second Amendment right. I absolutely do agree that there are only certain people that would be able to afford that, and that is probably my main issue with it as well. And I actually kind of felt bad for agreeing with the essay part because I did come from a very rural country family, and I can tell you right now that 98% of my family, if you ask them to write an essay in order to get a concealed carry license, they're probably going to cuss in your face. So, and at the same time, I'm reading this and I'm thinking, very much to Jason's point, if you don't have the mental capacity to be able to sit down and logically write out why you should be able to get a concealed carry weapon, should you have one?
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's not, to Brandon's point of the it and the, it's, I don't think that these should be sit down and graded like it's a grammar paper. It's not English. It's,
Exactly.
This is, let's analyze it. And what I told Brandon yesterday was very much, if I read through your essay and you're not passing it, now at this point, I feel like maybe we should call you in. We should have a sit down. Let's have a one-on-one interview. I understand that some people can't express their thoughts as well on paper. They're not as good as writing. Those people, let's come in, let's sit down, let's talk about it. Maybe you can express yourself better in person and you are completely mentally competent, but, and Brandon said, well, in that case, why don't we just eliminate the essay and do the interview? Are you going to interview every single person? This is one man interviewing every single person who applies for a concealed carry weapon. So I think, and it very much goes along with what Jason said of having somebody analyze it, being able to talk to somebody, which is what you said, to analyze it further. I really don't have a problem with the essay part. I think the advanced carry course should be very much recommended.
But not required,
No, not required. If you're going to require something like that, you should offer some sort of a voucher, some sort of assistance to get that.
Like, if you make it through the course and you pass it properly, you shouldn't have to pay for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, it's kind of a try at your own risk, but it should not be mandatory when there's already a mandatory class for concealed carry.
Through us talking about it, I've thought about it. I'm against the price, but for requiring the class.
And I think we would all agree with that. I agree.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe if it was like $500 or something like that. Maybe.
Not even that. No,
but
understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, something a little. It's like that's closer to a game system. Like,
but
maybe
still,
you don't go
but
out
you're
and
already
get that Xbox.
spending $400 on a gun, and then you got to spend another $500 on the actual class. Like, it shouldn't be a large price tag. Like, first off, I feel just in general you should have to take a class if you want to own a gun, no matter what it is.
Period. Yes.
Period. But to then make that class a $500 class, any ticket that is multiple of hundreds of dollars. Sorry, that was so much.
That was just
an example.
Price.
Exactly, just an example.
I feel you. My whole thing is the basic class doesn't go over everything.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's just very loose. It's just the basics that you need to know about handling your gun, and
which everyone should have to take.
Yeah.
The advanced class goes into more of, you know, the actual rigorous parts of owning and carrying a gun. You know, and that I feel everybody else should, well, everybody period should be taking, because that would stop people from thinking, oh, just because I have a gun I can play hero.
So we should demand more classes for people who want a gun. If I want a gun, I should have to take a class. I am not above that, but this class should not cost me an arm and a leg to take.
And I just thought of an idea. Maybe
it should be like a tax on your gun in and of itself. Kind of something, just add on $20, something like that. Just simple.
Well, this is something I just kind of thought of, and it probably could work a little bit, but I'm sure you guys could argue it. But maybe if, like, once you've put in the application, you've gone through the background check, you've got your gun, you've gone through the basic course, and now you've got to take the advanced course. You show you passed the basic course, you passed it with a good score, you know, then the advanced course is free.
Okay.
See, now, and I do like that, because the basic course will be even cheaper, and then if you pass it on good standing, that advanced course should be at a highly reduced rate. Because I'm not opposed to the good guy with the gun argument, but you can't have the good guy with the gun argument but you don't train the good guy with the gun. Yeah. That totally defeats the argument. It makes it nonsensical. You're just giving guns to people who want guns. If you want a gun, it's the Second Amendment. You should be able to own a gun, but you should not be able to walk around next to my child, next to my auntie, next to my uncle, next to my grandmother and my mother with a gun if you do not have the proper classes and training to do so. Our police officers are killing people. And
they have the classes.
And they have the classes.
They have even more advanced.
For like 6 months, 7, 8 months to a year classes.
Yeah.
And they're still using way more force than they should, let alone someone who's only taking a week-long class. So the minimum people, it's just common sense. If you want someone next to you with a gun, expect them to be trained in it.
So it appears that the overall consensus among us is that we are everyone okay with the essay. If you want to own a weapon, take 10 minutes and write down why. It's not that hard. It's not that big of a deal. And the advanced course is an amazing idea. Yeah. It's the $1,100 issues, and that falls back on, the state, on the jurisdiction that, is doing this. Yeah. To correct. So
I almost wish we could impose that nationally and just make it a part of like the background check.
Yeah.
But it would definitely need to be enhanced. I don't think, in this community, they don't have psychologists and analysts coming in reading this. This is one man who gets your essay, sits down and reads it. And
exactly.
if
and
we're talking about
that's
a
another
small
problem.
community, chances are he already knows you. So it's
exactly.
well, this is Billy Bob's. I don't like him. You failed your essay. That no person should be able to have that kind of power.
Yeah.
For a panel, it should,
It should be a legit panel, a legit review board of psychologists, people who study and look at handwritings and can determine what those mean. It should be a legit board of those kind of people,
I agree.
I would be perfectly okay with rolling it out nationally under those kind of circumstances.
Yeah.
And it has to be handwritten.
And guess what that does, people?
It has to be handwritten.
Right?
Because you can't tell.
You can't type. Yeah, you can't tell.
I mean, sure, you can choose it. You can choose an angry typeface. But it's like...
But
maybe
also,
you chose that on accident.
This breeds more jobs, people. If you were to put a tax on every single person who buys a gun, $10 is not a lot when you're buying a $300, $400 gun. $10 ain't nothing to you. If you gonna spend the price tag on that gun, an extra $10 to $20 don't mean nothing to you. But what can that $10 to $20 do? That can provide an entire panel of people that can ensure that crazies don't get their hands on guns. People who have serious issues do not get their hands on life-threatening tools of destruction. That's what a gun is. It is not meant for a toy. It is meant to kill something. That is what a gun does. There is no other if and or but about it. It's to end something's life. Yeah, it may be to protect you, but they even tell cops... That's a cop excuse all the time. We're not taught to disarm someone or to put someone down. We're taught to kill someone with our gun. It is meant to completely stop you. That is what it's meant for.
Purpose that a weapon serves. That's it. You know,
For a gun,
other kind of use is there for a gun? I can't hardly say gun.
Besides hunting, of course, but you're still ending a life when you hunt. So, like, I expect you to take the proper precautions in the proper classes to make sure you're competent enough to realize what you have in your hands can end anyone's life in front of you. That's a very big thing.
It is. It's. I actually I kind of, in a way, I feel like this guy, very, very intelligent man. He had a very great idea. It's something that I never thought about before, you know. So
I just think he did it for a wrong reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't feel like it was right in the way that it was done. I don't think it's being implemented correctly, but I think he's on to something, and hopefully somebody can see this who has the power to take it and grow on it, and, you know, maybe we can see this roll out nationally. Maybe we can start talking about sensible gun control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it not be on, you know, the Republican and Democratic, you know, debate stages where everybody's just cutting each other down and nobody's listening to each other. So